Hello, everyone, and welcome to English Pod. My name is Marco.
My name is Catherine, and today we have an upper intermediate level lesson. It's kind of bitter, it's a little bit sad, but it's also kind of sweet.
That's right. We have a lesson today all about getting a divorce or divorcing someone.
Yeah, so this is what happens when two people's marriage ends. They decide they want to leave each other. They have a divorce. So let's take a listen to today's dialogue, and we'll be back in a moment.
Joanne, let's not make this divorce any more acrimonious than it already is, okay? Let's just get down to business and start dividing this stuff up fairly so we can go our separate ways, alright?
Fine with me. I just want to get this over with. It's important we make a clean break. I should have signed a prenup.
What was that?
Nothing? Anyway, you're right. There's no reason this has to be nasty. My lawyer tells me that you've accepted our alimony proposal and the division of property, as well as the custody agreement. I keep the cat and you get the dog. So that's done. Finally.
Well, let's not go there, Joanne. Okay, so let's start with the record collection. I'll take the albums I contributed, and you can have your cheesy disco albums back.
Fine, but I'm keeping the antique gramophone as my grandfather gave it to me.
I believe that was a wedding present to both of us, Joanne, and you hardly ever use it.
He's my grandfather, and he never really liked you anyway.
Whatever. Alright, I'll concede the silly gramophone if you'll agree that I get the silver tea set.
How typical. When are you ever going to use a silver tea set? Fine. I don't want to drag this out any more than necessary. What's next? What about these old photographs?
Which ones? Let me have a look. Oh wow, look at that. That brings back memories. Remember that?
Our trip to Italy. I remember that day. We were going to visit the Trevi Fountain, and we got caught in the rain.
And you looked so adorable with your hair all wet. I had to take a picture of you standing there in that little alley, smiling and laughing in the rain.
Oh, we really did have fun back then, didn't we?
Oh, Joanne, are we making a big mistake? I know our relationship has been on the rocks for some time, but are you sure we can't reconcile and try again? I still love you.
Oh, Jeff, I love you too! I'm so glad we didn't have to decide who keeps the motorcycle.
The motorcycle? But that's mine!
All right, we're back. So now why don't we take a look at 6 key words on language takeaway.
Language takeaway.
Okay, Marco, this first word is what we call an SAT word. That means it's very difficult. It's so hard that many high school students in America study it before they go to college. Acrimonious.
So the sentence starts off by saying, let's not make this divorce any more acrimonious than it already is.
This divorce is very acrimonious, but let's not make it worse.
Okay, so acrimonious would be
Bitter.
bitter, very complicated.
Hard. So people emotional about it. You know, people, Joanne and Jeff, are getting a divorce. They're very angry at each other. So they're not having a peaceful divorce. This is the opposite. It's very bitter. It's very angry.
Can you say this test is very acrimonious?
No. Usually relationships are acrimonious.
Okay.
For example, ever since they had that big fight, Jeff and Joanne's relationship has been very acrimonious.
Okay, awesome. So acrimonious, a very hard word there. As you say, many people study it to pass exams in order to go into college. So now you know. Now moving on, we have a very common legal term. When people are getting married, they want to sign sometimes a prenup.
Yeah, you said it's common. You hear this a lot in movies and TV.
Yeah, with celebrities.
Yeah, you read about celebrities. So basically, a prenup is a short way of saying a prenuptial agreement. Nuptial means having to do with marriage.
Right. So basically, if you sign a prenup, you are agreeing to certain conditions before you get married.
That's right. It's a contract between future husband and future wife about what happens if they divorce. For example, I decided not to get a prenup with my fiance because I don't think we'll get divorced. But maybe he decided to get a prenup because in case they divorce, he wants to keep his car.
Right. So it usually happens a lot with celebrities, as we say, because they have a lot of money. And if they get divorced, then usually it can get complicated, how much money the spouse gets, etc. So maybe their prenuptial agreement or prenup will be that if they get divorced, the wife may get maybe $1 million instead of $100 million.
Exactly. It's a way many people protect themselves financially in case of divorce.
Very good. Now, moving on, another legal term and related to money is an alimony.
Okay, so let's look at the context of this word. Joanne is talking and she says, my lawyer tells me you've accepted our alimony proposal. Alimony. So this is probably something to do with money, right?
So she said that her lawyer has proposed an alimony, and that's usually a settlement, an amount of money that you agree on when you get divorced.
Right, so this is exactly it. In a divorce, this is how much money one person will pay the other.
That's right. So if two people are married and when they get a divorce, their alimony may be the husband. If he's got a lot of money, he will pay an alimony of $500,000.
Right. And so this is different from property, which is the next thing. Division of property means that you talk about who will receive the car, the house, things like that.
Okay. Very good. So very complicated situations when you're getting divorced, prenups and alimony. But moving on, they were talking about custody as well. Custody of maybe children, maybe custody of their pets.
That's right. So you talk about alimony. This is money. Property, which is things, but what about people and animals? This is called custody. I want custody. Custody means caring for something or looking after something. You could say the child is in the grandmother's custody.
Okay, so in the care of the grandmother.
That's right.
So usually as well, when people get divorced, somebody gets custody of the children.
Right. So he wants custody, but he doesn't have a job, so she will receive custody. You could say that. In this case, though, we're talking about custody of pets, animals.
Right. In this case, it's animals, but it's actually true, right? People, when they get divorced, they may ask the court for custody of their pets.
That's right. And sometimes custody is what makes a divorce extremely acrimonious.
Yes. Who gets to keep the children? Who gets to keep the pets? Now, moving on and a little bit away from legal terms, they were dividing up their property and saying, well, I get to keep this, you get to keep that. And Joanne said, I'm keeping the antique gramophone as my grandfather gave it to me.
So who cares about pets and money? I want the gramophone.
Right.
All right, so this is actually a word you don't hear very often anymore.
It's an old thing, and that's what antique means, right? Antique is old.
Right, so antique, this is an adjective here. It can also be a noun. An antique table, an antique gramophone, is something that's very old, like 100 years old or 150 years old.
And a gramophone is one of those machines that you see in movies that play the old vinyl records and has like a big horn where the sound echoes.
That's right. So in the 19th century, early 20th century, people didn't have CDs or MP3s or iPods. This is how they listened to music. So you usually have a hand crank. You have to turn the machine, and then the music will play, and you can dance and do whatever.
Right. So that's a gramophone. Now moving on to our last word, Jeff said, you know what? Okay, fine. Keep the gramophone. All right. I'll concede the silly gramophone. So to concede.
To concede means to give up an argument.
Okay, so you give up, you give in, you say, all right, take it.
That's exactly right. So in this case, the argument is who will receive the gramophone? They fight, they argue, and finally, Jeff says, I concede. Okay, I give up. You take it.
And is it only for things, or can you also concede someone you say somebody is right?
You can say that, or an election. For example, there are two people who want to be president, and the vote is counted, and it's not clear who the president is, and one person says, fine, I concede. That means I give up, you win.
Okay, very good. So to concede. All right, 6 key words there. They're very interesting, especially the legal terms. Very common, and it's very... it's very common and it's very useful for you to know next time you're watching maybe a movie or something related to this topic.
Hopefully not the next time you're getting divorced.
Right. But let's move on now to 4 key phrases that we have for everyone on Fluency Builder.
Fluency Builder.
Marco, let's get this over with. I'm tired. I want to go home.
Let's get it over with. Come on, let's just do it and get it over with.
All right, so this is our first phrase in Fluency Builder. To get this over with, or to get it over with.
Okay, so let's take that as a phrase. And to get something over with means let's just finish it quickly. Let's stop delaying.
That's right. This is a way to ask to finish something quickly or to stop something. So, for example, I have to go to the dentist later. Maybe I really don't want to go. I'll say to myself, let me just get this over with, and once it's done, I don't have to worry about it.
Or maybe you have homework to do, and instead of doing it later, you're just like, okay, I'm going to do it now and just get it over with.
All right, to get over with, to get something over with.
Okay. And when they were talking about breaking up or separating, Joanne mentioned it's important we make a clean break. What does she mean by making a clean break?
All right, we hear this phrase all the time. It's a very important phrase. In relationships, it means when 2 people leave each other, you don't then call them or see each other or hang out. It means a clean break. You stop altogether.
Okay.
You stop something completely.
So you don't talk anymore, you don't see each other anymore, you completely just stop contact with each other.
Exactly. You can also say this about breaking something. You could say it was a clean break. When I broke my arm, it was a clean break. There were no little pieces of bone or any problems like that. It was a clean break. That means completely broke.
Okay, so when we talk about clean break in a relationship, it means we completely break up, we stop talking to each other, and it's over with. It's in the past.
Exactly.
All right. So moving on, they were talking and completely, arguing about, I get the gramophone, I get the tea set. And Joanne said, okay, fine. I don't want to drag this out any longer than necessary.
So you can hear her. I don't want to drag this out any longer than necessary. So to drag something out means to extend, to make something longer, to make something take more time than it should.
Okay, so for example, if someone's giving a speech, they may be dragging it out, right? And you're, so if someone's giving a very long speech, you're like, oh my God, he's dragging the speech out so long.
Yeah, when will he ever stop?
Right.
Or you could say in an argument, I'm tired of arguing. Let's not drag this out anymore. Let's just stop.
Okay. So to drag something out is usually time related, to make things longer than necessary.
Exactly.
All right. And for our last phrase, when Jeff was talking about the relationship, he says, I know a relationship has been on the rocks for some time. Okay, so the relationship was on the rocks.
Okay, so this is an interesting phrase. Think about rocks. You see rocks on the ground in the ocean. Something that's on the rocks, in this case, means something that is not going well. Something that has problems. Yes, it's not smooth. So when Jeff says our relationship has been on the rocks, he's saying we fight a lot. We have problems. It's not working.
So if I say my company has been on the rocks recently, it means it's not doing very well.
Business is not going well.
Okay. So you can use this for different things. Now, obviously, you may have heard it before for drinks. You say scotch on the rocks.
Right, that's different. Be careful. In that sentence, Marco's talking about ice.
Right? Yeah. So that's different if you ask for a drink on the rocks. But if you describe yourself or your company or a relationship as being on the rocks, it means you're having a tough time.
It's a bad situation.
Okay.
Exactly.
So it's a very useful phrase. I think that's very native, very colloquial if you say something like this.
Absolutely. It's a great phrase to use. I encourage you. I hope that your situation, your work, and your relationships are not on the rocks. But I do hope that when you're practicing speaking, you use this phrase a lot because it's really, really colloquial, like you say, Marco.
Yeah, it's really good. So I think we've taken a look at a lot of phrases, a lot of vocab. Why don't we go back, listen to the dialogue for one last time.
Joanne, let's not make this divorce any more acrimonious than it already is, okay? Let's just get down to business and start dividing this stuff up fairly so we can go our separate ways, alright?
Fine with me. I just want to get this over with. It's important we make a clean break. I should have signed a prenup.
What was that?
Nothing? Anyway, you're right. There's no reason this has to be nasty. My lawyer tells me that you've accepted our alimony proposal and the division of property, as well as the custody agreement. I keep the cat and you get the dog. So that's done. Finally.
Well, let's not go there, Joanne. Okay, so let's start with the record collection. I'll take the albums I contributed, and you can have your cheesy disco albums back.
Fine, but I'm keeping the antique gramophone as my grandfather gave it to me.
I believe that was a wedding present to both of us, Joanne, and you hardly ever use it.
He's my grandfather, and he never really liked you anyway.
Whatever. Alright, I'll concede the silly gramophone if you'll agree that I get the silver tea set.
How typical. When are you ever going to use a silver tea set? Fine. I don't want to drag this out any more than necessary. What's next? What about these old photographs?
Which ones? Let me have a look. Oh wow, look at that. That brings back memories. Remember that?
Our trip to Italy. I remember that day. We were going to visit the Trevi Fountain, and we got caught in the rain.
And you looked so adorable with your hair all wet. I had to take a picture of you standing there in that little alley, smiling and laughing in the rain.
Oh, we really did have fun back then, didn't we?
Oh, Joanne, are we making a big mistake? I know our relationship has been on the rocks for some time, but are you sure we can't reconcile and try again? I still love you.
Oh, Jeff, I love you too. I'm so glad we didn't have to decide who keeps the motorcycle.
The motorcycle? But that's mine!
All right, we're back. So a very interesting dialogue all about divorce. Now, this is a very common situation nowadays in many countries, such as the United States or Europe. Divorce rates are very high lately, like in the past 10, 20 years.
Yeah, they do say that since maybe the 70s or 80s, divorce rates have been on the rise. I think the average now in America is about 50%.
Yeah, it's like 5 in 10 marriages end in divorce.
That's right.
And then from what I understand, or I read once, I think out of those 50% that get divorced, if they remarry, again, the probabilities of those that get remarried are again half. So most likely people will get divorced at least twice.
That's true. Although sometimes you meet people who got married when they were very, very young and they realize that they grew up a little bit and their personality changed or their goals changed and they divorced that one time, but then later in life when they marry again, they know who they are. They get married again and it's better. So I think the situations are all quite different, but it is true that there are a lot of divorces in America. What about Ecuador though? I mean, is the divorce rate similar?
No, not really. I think people are still a little bit more old-fashioned in that sense. Like it was before, you know, it was even a little bit taboo to be divorced.
Yeah.
But I don't think people get divorced as often, especially if people have been together for quite a while. That's one of the things that surprises me a lot is I've met people who have been married 20, 30 years and then get divorced. It's like, what? It's like you've been through the toughest times. You know, you've pretty much beat the odds. And why do you get divorced at such a late age?
Yeah, it does seem counterintuitive, but it's possible that they were unhappy for that time and they didn't want to affect their children's lives.
Right, maybe.
And so when their children go to college or leave, they say, okay, now I can, you know, make a big decision.
I know in countries, for example, such as Chile, divorce is still illegal. I think in the Philippines as well.
Really?
Yeah, it's still illegal to get divorced.
Is that because they're very religious countries?
I know Chile is not really that religious. I don't know what it is exactly by law, but a lot of people, I think it may be legal now. I can't really remember very well. I think one of our Chilean listeners can help us out here. But I know a lot of people used to annul their marriages because of this.
I see.
So they would be like, oh, I put the wrong address. So no, this marriage is not valid.
Right.
Or stuff
I
like
spelled
that.
my name wrong.
Yeah. So,
Interesting. Well, I'd be curious to know, as you said, whether any of our Chilean friends know more about this, or for the rest of you, in your country, is divorce common? Is it uncommon? Are there laws that prohibit or that allow divorce? Let us know on our website, EnglishPod.com.
all right, we'll see you guys there.
Bye.
The English Pod Audio Review. Listen to the meaning, Then say the vocabulary word.
Thorough or complete stop in a relationship. Clean break. Prenuptial agreement, a contract prior to marriage. Prenup. The act of keeping safe or guarding. Custody. To acknowledge, often reluctantly, as being true. Concede. Proceed for an extended period of time. Drag this out. Set or keep apart in the relationship. Go our separate ways.
Let's try that faster.
To acknowledge, often reluctantly, as being true. Concede. Proceed for an extended period of time. Drag this out. Set or keep apart in the relationship. Go our separate ways. Prenuptial agreement, a contract prior to marriage. Prenup. Thorough or complete stop in a relationship. Clean break. The act of keeping safe or guarding. Custody.
Now say the word and hear it in a sentence.
Clean break.
I don't care if he wants to keep the house and the car. I just want a divorce and a clean break so I never have to see him again.
Clean break.
A clean break can only occur if both parties are financially independent.
Clean break.
You're not able to divorce with a clean break at the moment because your husband can't work and needs financial support.
Go our separate ways.
I think it is better if we go our separate ways.
Go our separate ways.
They decided to end the relationship and go their separate ways.
Go our separate ways.
I proposed we go our separate ways, but she didn't want to.
Custody.
I am fighting for custody of my dog.
Custody.
The court gave custody of the children to the father.
Custody.
People always have custody battles when they get divorced.
Concede.
After 3 hours of fighting, she conceded to him the computer.
Concede.
I find it hard to concede when people are right.
Concede.
He conceded me the right to use the car every day.
Drag this out.
I hate it when people drag out a conversation for hours.
Drag this out.
I don't want to drag out this argument any longer.
Drag this out.
The weatherman said that this bad weather will drag out for another 3 days.